Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Yak Gadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake, for all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs. Go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mindset Podcast on the Paddle and Fin Network. Before we get to our guest today, I just wanted to mention a few things. Obviously, we have the Paddle and Fin Fantasy Kayak Fishing going on. That's going to go on throughout the whole year. And we have it separated in quarters. So you can always get involved and win prizes per quarter and also win prizes for end of the year stuff too. And then also, if you've missed this year's Dale Hollow event, they've already announced the dates for next year, which will be April 22nd and 23rd will be the day the tournament's actually there. We'll probably be there about a week beforehand. So if you guys want to start getting information or start planning for that trip next year, it will be April 22nd and 23rd of 2023. So other than that, let's bring our guest in. We have Joshua David today, who's actually placed pretty good in a big tournament this past weekend, but also had a first place finish in a tournament, I believe, 2 to 3 weeks ago. So let's bring him in. How you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Awesome.
So I forgot exactly how many anglers there was this past week, and it was like close to 80, wasn't it?
59.
59, okay.
I had looked at it once, and I think there were 60 people registered, but I don't know if somebody canceled or what. But it ended up being 59 when I checked at the end of the day. And
but you placed good in that tournament, though.
Yeah, I placed fifth. Should have had big fish. I might talk about that a little bit later. But, that fish behind me there is a 20 and a quarter inch smallmouth. It's actually fish number one of the day. And when I caught that fish, I thought immediately, boy, this ain't gonna be a good day, you know. Because usually if you catch the barn burner on the first cast, the rest of the day can be pretty hairy. But we had a pretty good day. We had 85 50 inches, 85 and a half inches, and with that one we would have had 85 75, but we got a quarter inch deduction because people's eyes don't work right or something. But anyway, enough about that. We may bring it up again later or not, but yeah, we had a great time. I've had 80 plus inches the past 2 weeks fishing on Cherokee Lake, and that's just very difficult to do. I won an event prior to that. There was only like 14 anglers in that one, but weather was a big factor for that day. It was snowing and ice and wind and rain, and I mean we had all three seasons in one day there, but. So that scared a lot of guys off, but when you've got an iron mind like I have, we're going to go out there and we're going to just face the elements and do what we can do though. But yeah, man, we had a good time fishing. It was a great event and everything. Just excited about it and excited about the groove that we're in. I feel like we're hitting our stride now. And that's what we want to do. So, but it's been a lot of pullback, a lot of pushback from different things. But again, your mindset, as we've continued talking, we've proven over and over again that having the right mind frame is going to carry you a lot further than having a negative one. So.
Yeah, definitely. And then you also had a tournament where you won.
Yes, yeah, that was on Cherokee Lake. That was with the Tri-Cities Kayak Anglers. Again, that was the one that had 14 people fish that event. Again, that's the one that we was talking about now just a minute ago with the weather.
Yeah.
And yeah, we won that one with 80 and a quarter inches. Getting out there. And I don't want to disclose the exact bait that I was using. I'm going to say I was using a Ned rig.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, it's not your I don't mind to share with you, off camera or whatever, because you're in a different state. But it's a different approach to a Ned rig that I don't think anybody in my area has picked up on yet, and I don't want them to pick up on it because it's giving me an edge, And,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So I don't, I'm real careful about, I like sharing tips and stuff, but I don't want to be telling people, especially when I tournament fish, and some of those guys might watch this, I don't want to tell them the specific application of the Ned rig that I was using, because it's doing really, really well for me right now. And of course the crankbait too. I don't talk about the crankbait a lot, but I've been picking up the crankbait and using it more, and like I said, I don't talk about it on camera. I actually stopped filming my fishing trips for my YouTube channel, just because I wanted to see if that was a hindrance to me, or if it was helping. And I'm kind of one of those type of people, Chris, that I get distracted easy. I don't want to say I've got shiny object syndrome, but
Yeah.
But if I'm fiddling around with stuff, that's why I went through so many kayaks, is because I never could until really now get dialed in like I am. And now that I'm dialed in, I feel like I'm on fire, and that's just something that's going to I believe it's just going to keep growing. Sorry, my phone keeps blowing up.
You're fine.
People are talking to me about this fish right now. That was a problem. So we may have to bring that up, for sure. But yeah, man, it's been an amazing journey, and I'm now riding in a Wilderness Systems Recon 120 with a Torpedo on the back. And I think the last time we talked, I may have had the Hobie at that point.
No,
I think I had the Unlimited still. I'm not sure.
No,
I don't know what I had. I've had so many kayaks, dude.
It was the kayak. You had the kayak right before the Hobie.
Okay, that was...
Because you got the Hobie about a week or two after we
Was that
talked.
the Vibe Shearwater?
Yes.
Yeah, the Vibe Shearwater 125. It was a great boat. I think if I would have put the Torpedo on it, I would have loved... I think that would have been a great setup. But I'd gotten a Hobie, because everybody in the world says Hobie, right? So I got into the cult of Hobie, and I quickly got out of the cult of Hobie because I found myself constantly reaching down over here to the side, because it's a pedal drive kayak, and so it's supposed to be hands free, right? Well, I had the 360 drive, and man, I was constantly reaching over here to the side. And I would have, I reel with my left hand, so I would have rod in my right hand, constantly reaching down, turning that thing, with my left hand, and then putting back on my reel. And I just, man, I tell you what, that got annoying quick. And the seat hurt my back. No matter how I adjusted it, high or low, whatever, my back and my legs. I mean, I had one day out there, my legs went numb. On that thing, and I'm like, I can't be doing this, and everybody said, we'll get a 14. Well, I didn't really want a PA 14, because right now in my situation, I'm having a car top, van top. I use a van to fish out of, and it's just because it's easier for me to store all my gear in, especially if it's raining. Yep. All my gear is dry, so I use a van, kind of like Derek Brundle does. Except mine's more of a sporty family van, but
yeah, I mean, I have a SUV that I do.
So I'm not car topping a PA 14 when there may be times when I have to be by myself. So I started looking around and doing some research and digging, and I came across the Wilderness Systems Recon 120. It's 38 inches wide, 12 foot 3 inches long.
Yep.
I can stand in it all day long. I don't have to worry about water getting into any kind of rod tubes, because it don't have rod tubes in the front like the Hobie does. But when I would stand up on that Hobie PA12, the way that thing is designed, and me being a bigger dude, I mean, if you're a small fry, hey, it's perfect. Small fries can handle the Hobies all day long. But when you're a bigger dude like me, and you're in a PA12, you stand up, man, the front hatch or the front rod tubes, they filled up with water, like in a hurry. And every single time that I came back in, I was always having drained water out of that Hobie. And it was, like they're nice. It pedals great, steers great. But like I said, I was constantly having to fidget. So I don't function like that. I've got to have everything. The way my mind works is I've got to have everything in order. And with that Wilderness Systems Recon 120, I steer with my feet. I don't have no knobs to fiddle with on the left or the right side of the kayak. And I can turn the motor off, drop my anchor wizard, and drop my anchor down with my anchor wizard system off the bow of the kayak, and I can sit there on my spot and I can do my thing. Or I can edge up to a bank, get that motor up out of the water, and I can just sit there and cast down that bank all day long and wear them out. And now that I've got a system in place, I feel like that's going to give me the edge that I need, because I've always been a good angler. I've always been a great fisherman. I've had very few days where I've actually not caught anything at all. Now, I've had some tournaments where I didn't get any scoreable fish, but I caught fish those days.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So it's rare that we have 0 days as far as not catching anything. It's just always been like that for me, and really my family. My Uncle Ben, he taught me how to fish at a young age. And ever since my Uncle Ben, my Uncle Norman, and my dad would go sometimes, but really my two uncles they're the reason that I got into fishing, and I've been doing it ever since I was a little boy, and here we are 40 years old now, and so fishing, we know how to fish, we just couldn't fish. The platform stuff, man, was just, it was chaotic, trying to find the right setup, and now that we've got that, look out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel with the pursuit that I got, and it's everything that I've been needing. I finally have, just like you're saying with the Recon. And I've seen the Recon. I have a buddy I fish with quite often who fishes out of a Recon. That boat's a good boat, but he's a small dude.
Yeah.
So he's like 5'5" and 120 pounds. So he flies all through that thing, man.
Yeah. Oh man, I could listen. I turn around, I put my feet on the edge.
Yeah.
I treat that boat like I'm inside of like a big car or something, and I got plenty of room to move around. I do that, and that thing just sits like a table right on the water, and it's stable. Speed wise, I go like 5.5, 6 miles an hour with that Torpedo.
Yeah, that's what he's doing about.
And my battery, like, I came back in last week, and I'd run the motor pretty much all day long at different times. A few times I had it off, but for the most part, it was on at low speeds. Man, I come back in, I had 84% battery life left.
That's good.
The only time I ever drained the battery down was in a river event a few weeks ago. I placed, I think, 6th in that event too. I would have placed first. I don't really want to get into why I didn't. It was a choice of mine to help another angler who was having some issues, going on in his life, and I thought the club was going to do something, but we ended up not doing it. But I'll just say I took one for the team that day, and I'll leave it at that. And if anybody wants to question that, they can. But sometimes you got to do something like that. You got to punt and forfeit or whatever to help another person out for different reasons. But we could have won that one, no problem. Matter of fact, I fished with the guy that ended up winning, and I'm glad he did win. And I told him while we were fishing, I said, "Man, I hope you win today." And he ended up winning. But anyhow, we do things like that from time to time as well, just because we operate on the mindset it's more blessed to give than receive.
Yep.
And so I'll leave that at that. But I hadn't really talked about that much. But we've that day I drained the battery out. I took it to like 3%, but I went up like 7 miles in the river upstream fighting current. And then drove all the way back down in the kayak with the motor on the whole time. And so I came back in, I still had 3% battery left. And that was like 13-mile round trip that day. So
that's good miles.
Yeah, man. And that's with running the motor all day long, not turning it off so I could hold myself in current and different things like that. Of course, I use my anchor wizard too, so I would turn it off occasionally. But I'd say 98% of the time the motor was on that day, and I still came back in with 3% battery life left.
Oh, that's good.
So, but I have 2 batteries, so if one does die, I can plug another one right in, and I'm going to guarantee to get back for sure.
That's something I'm looking into, man. Because
there's
some lakes. There's some. I already have the motor and everything. I'm saying more of like a second battery because there's some tournaments where I'm gonna make some long runs. That
yeah. Have you a second? Of course, like with the Torpedo, it comes. You get their battery. For their motor, but they are lithium batteries, and they're awesome. I mean, they're awesome. They're awesome. So, anyway, I don't want to deviate too far from the plan here, but that's kind of where we're at with that, and I think we're good.
Yeah.
As far as kayaks go.
So you said you wanted to talk about mindset. You told me after you had that win that you wanted to get on here and talk about there was a mindset element to that win. Do you want to kind of dive into that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, starting off that day, I had been using an app. Oh, you can't really see my phone much.
Yeah.
There we go. I've been using an app on my phone for the last year. It's called Timestamp app, and I was using it for my identifier. Nowhere in the rule books that I've looked at does it say that you can only have an identifier on your hand or on a piece of paper. It just says there has to be an identifier in the picture. That's the actual rules. Anything above and beyond that, people are just making stuff up for whatever reasons, and that's just my opinion. And if some of those guys watch this and see it, hey, we can debate it if you'd like to. But I started off that day. When I caught my first fish and people saw that I was leading, I started getting messages about my identifier because they didn't, matter of fact, one person said, "I don't see an identifier in your picture." Well, I said, look up to the top right and you'll see the identifier. Well, I don't think you can use that. Well, but I've been using this for over a year now, and nobody has said a word until I start winning. And so I had a lot to overcome that morning. I had people, I don't know what their problem was. If I've had people tell me that, oh, he's just a YouTuber, he's not an angler. I've heard all kind of stuff. People talk and they think that nobody's going to tell me, but it always gets back to me. For some reason I've got some enemies in the local kayak clubs that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I haven't done anything to anybody.
Yeah.
I've always tried to be a friend to everybody and be kind. Now, if I don't like you, I don't like you, and I'll tell you I don't like you. And if you don't like me, have enough guts to just tell me, hey, I don't like you, man.
Yeah.
And we're good. We can still fish and together and move on and be friends, in a different way. But, so starting off that morning, the negativity was just driving, and I thought, well, I can sit and focus on this, or I can just keep fishing. And I came to win. I did not show up that day to take second place. I didn't show up that day to take 10th. I showed up to win, and that's what my objective was. I prepped for 2 weeks on Google Earth and research and communicating and talking to people. About where to fish and things that were, what I could do to set myself up for a successful day. And so I had that negativity from the very beginning. Then we had the weather issue on top of that. Like I said, it was cold, it was rainy, it was snowing, the wind was blowing like ridiculously crazy, 25, 30, 40 mile an hour winds at different times. 40 might be a little stretch, but it was drastic, okay?
Yeah.
And so we had so much adversity fighting against us from the first fish I submitted till about the last fish I submitted. We had nothing but adversity. And I even got on Facebook and did like 2 or 3 different lives that day and talked about some of that stuff. So it was definitely a mind battle. People will try to get into your head and mess with you. They'll sandbag. And I know why people sandbag. They think that they're doing it and they're going to hurt somebody. Well, I'll tell you, the last person that's going to affect is me, because I'm aware of this. I'm aware of the scheme. I'm aware of what sandbagging's for. Sandbagging is for you to quit fishing thinking that you've got it nipped in the bud, and then all of a sudden I upload my pictures at the last minute and take it from you. I know exactly what that crap's about. It's not for any other reason than to try to play on somebody's head and make them think they've got it, and then they don't. So I don't sandbag. I'm never going to sandbag, because that's not the game I'm going to play. I'm not going to try to play with people's heads. I'm going to upload my fish as I catch them.
Well, and you could catch for doing that. You can also hurt yourself at times, because your phone can lose service. I mean, your phone can die at any point in the day. I'd rather have 3 to 4 fish uploaded, have my phone die, and at least still get Angler of the Year points versus hoping to submit all my fish at the end of the day and have something go wrong.
Yep.
Yeah,
if that's the game people want to play, hey, you keep playing it. I'm not going to play that game, and it's not going to affect me, because I'm that guy that when I say this is my last cast, I really mean this is my last. I've got 100 more casts to go.
Yeah.
I'm usually the last guy off the water. I'm off on time, but I'm gonna be the last man off the water. I'm gonna be the first man on the water to my spot, and I'm gonna be the last man off the water, because I'm gonna fish to the bitter end. If lines out's 230, I will make a cast at 229. You can bet your bottom dollar I will do that. And if I get one on, by golly, I get one on. So that's just who I am. I'm a different animal, and that's just my mindset. Now, I'm not going to win every time. I'm not going to place high every time. I get that, because it's fishing, and we're not in control of those fish. We don't have, we don't tell them to bite. They're either going to bite or they're not, no matter what you put in front of them. But that said, we had so much adversity that we had to deal with from start to finish, whether it be people or the weather, the elements around us. We had all that stuff going on, and we just barreled our head down. I kept my head down. I did not let it bother me, to the point to where I just wanted to give up and quit. I just stayed focused, and man, it paid off. We ended up getting 80 1/4 inches that day. We won the turn, or 80, how many of it was, but we won the day. And I went back to the same place this past weekend and put up 85 inches. So I got five more inches fish than I did the previous week. And the weather this week, we had a little bit of rain early in the morning, but that rain ended, and so we just fought. But we had a lot of competitive people fishing this last tournament with 59 anglers. There was some real hammers that we were competing against, and we beat a lot of them. And again, it just, your mindset plays a huge role into everything you do. And if you let people get an edge on you mentally, then they're going to be able to rattle your cage. And if they can rattle your cage, they can knock you off course. If they knock you on course, then you're going to be defeated. And so we just kept our heads down, and we kept fishing, and boom, 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 And I knew when I submitted that fish that's behind me early morning, I knew there was going to be a problem with it, because I submitted that fish and it never did get accepted. And I'm sitting there and I thought about it for a little bit. Why is this fish not getting accepted? And I think that may have hurt me a little bit initially, because I focused on that for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I was like, nope, you got to get back to fishing. And that's, boom, caught my next fish. So, that's the thing. Your mental edge, your mental toughness. You can box, you can beat somebody up all day long with your physical strength.
Yep.
You can hammer them to death. You may be that big bad dude that can lift 500 pounds or whatever, bench press 500, or you may be able to get in a ring and knock somebody out in 10 seconds. But let me tell you something. What you cannot beat is mental toughness. When somebody has a mind that they're not going to allow the things around them to get in their head to the point of distracting them, you can't beat a person like that. And that's my mindset is, you may catch more fish. You may get better luck than me that day, but you still didn't defeat me mentally. Because I'm gonna look at my day and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna evaluate what I did that day and what I could do differently the next time, and I'm gonna grow from that. And that's what people have to understand in competitive fishing is that you've got to have a mental toughness that even if you do have a bad day where you don't catch a bag of fish or you don't place high up, you cannot go away from that sorrowful. You've got to go away with a mindset of what can I do to improve? How can I grow as an angler? And what can I learn from this? If you
Yeah.
don't, Chris, then you're gonna always be saying, "Well, man, I'm trying so hard, blah blah blah, but I'm always getting defeated." Well, you're always getting defeated because your mindset's not right. And
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
that's just my 2 cents on it. I could sit and talk about it this all day long, but really,
Yeah.
I'd just be belaboring the point that you need to have a mental toughness about you that no matter what is thrown your way, you just keep your head down and you keep fishing. Or
Yeah. Agreed.
whatever it is you're doing in life, you keep your head down and keep focused on that, and don't let people distract you because they will. They will.
Yeah, there's certain things that you can't control. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
people, number one, people judging you,
Oh
people
yeah.
talking about you, that's number one. That's the first thing that people talk about.
Yeah. Let them
Um,
talk. Let them.
yeah, yeah, I agree 100%. You have to just kind of okay, it's more of like it's whatever, man. I'm gonna do me. You want to keep talking, you're only hurting yourself.
Yep.
Because I'm still gonna do what I need to do regardless.
Exactly.
And
100%. Yeah, you can't let what people say about you get in the way, because if you do, it's just, well, your whole day gets ruined.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and if I was worried or I was concerned with what someone says about me,
it's only affecting yourself.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
fish. I wouldn't
yeah,
I wouldn't fish these tournaments. I'd still fish, but I wouldn't fish these tournaments.
yeah.
I'd
Because
just I'd just go off and do my own thing, and fish when I had the opportunity to, or just go every Saturday like I do anyway, and but just fish, with a friend or by myself or whatever. But I'm not gonna let people bother me. If you don't like me, you don't have to like me. Heck, you don't even have to shake my hand. Now,
yeah,
what you do have to do is be respectful.
yeah,
But if you're not going to be respectful to me, then we might have some problems. But other than that, just do your thing. I'm going to do my thing, and we'll move on. And at the end of the day, we'll nod and shake or whatever and get going. But I'm not going to allow any negativity to affect me. I'm just not going to. And that's
yep,
what people have to learn. You don't let naysayers and negative Nancy's and what do they call them? Karens.
yeah.
Karens and Chris's. I mean, not Chris's. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Jims or whoever out there in the world. You don't let them people bother you. And what somebody else's opinion of you is not reality. I've often heard people say that perception is reality. That's the biggest bunch of hogwash that I've ever heard in my life, and I'll tell you why. And that's a mindset thing, because if perception is reality, then what we are saying is what someone perceives to be so actually is. Well, perception is just an opinion at the end of the day that someone forms over you or your life or whatever, and that I don't care what somebody perceives me to be. At the end of the day, God and I know who I am. And
Yeah,
so, whatever perception or whatever thought or opinions are like butts. Everybody's got two cheeks and they sit on it every day.
mm-hmm.
We're all in that same boat. And so, I don't let things like that bother me.
Well, you
And
can't.
that's what people need to learn.
Oh, that most definitely. You definitely can't let people bother you.
No.
That's the quickest way to your own self destruction
Yes,
is letting
absolutely.
people tell you who you are before you even know who you are.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you've got to learn who you are.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, you've got at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, there's one person that you are ultimately concerned with. Now, you may have a family, and that's part of but if you're the leader, if you're in control, you have to be right first. If you're not right first, you can't lead other people.
Yeah.
And so you've got to look at the man in the mirror when you get up in the morning and before you go to bed at night. If you're not happy with that man, you got to learn to fix. You got to fix whatever's going on in that man's life.
Yep.
And once you fix your life and your mind, and you get your mind right, then everything else starts to fall into place.
Yep, I agree with that.
It's just crazy all the time.
Yeah. So we've been on here for about 30 minutes. Any final thoughts before we go into like sponsorship stuff?
I just want to say to people again, you're gonna have people out there who don't like you. They're jealous because you're succeeding. And they wonder how in the world did you just come out of the blue and do this? Well, what they don't know, and what you do know, and what they don't know, is that you've put the time and the effort and the work in behind the scenes, and it's showing up in what you're doing. There's people that show up, and there's people that show out. I always want to be the person that shows up. I don't want to be a show out type of a person because that's not going to last very long.
Yeah.
But if you learn to show up, no matter how many times you get punched or you get knocked down, if you continue to stand up every single time, then you can win and you can overcome that adversity in your life. And so it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you keep getting back up. And I think even Scripture says something to the fact that, a man falls down 7 times, stands up 8.
Yep.
And so that's what you've got to learn to do, is to keep standing up. You might take punches, you might take some heavy hits, but you keep getting back up. And I tell you what, you keep getting back up after you've been hit a bunch, people are going to start paying attention then. They're going to say, hey, wait, this is a different animal. I'm not dealing with just some Johnny-come-lately. I'm dealing with a different person, and this person's got an edge, And maybe you can help them get that edge if that's your thing. But anyway, just stay focused. My motto for Champions Fishing is stay safe, stay strong, and remember always you are a champion.
Yep.
Be one. That's our mind. That's what Champions Fishing is all about, is to create that mindset within people and help them realize that they are a champion. They're created in God's image and God's likeness. They're a champion. Be one in every area of your life. It takes the mental toughness to do that. Appreciate you guys, and God bless you.
Yep. Any sponsors you want to?
Just B&E Collision. I want to plug in B&E Collision. They're a paid sponsor. I don't pay them; they pay me. I do have a couple bait companies that I deal with, but I'm more of a pro staff with them. I'm not a true sponsorship. And so, but those who have actually invested money into me financially, B&E Collision, I really appreciate them for supporting me for this 2022 season. If you're in the Tri-Cities area here in Kingsport and you're watching this, B&E Collision is over in Lynn Garden, right across from Higher Ground Baptist Church. If you have any auto repair needs or whatever, or you're looking for a used car or something, you can go by and see them. Jeff will take good care of you. And they do great work. They have a lifetime warranty. It's only written lifetime warranty in the Tri-Cities that I know of, and it's one that they'll stand by. So appreciate B&E Collision for helping us out. And Wilderness Systems, even though they're not a supporter, they provide great kayaks. I love it. Torquedo as well. Couldn't do it without it. So anyway, that's what I want to plug in today for them. And appreciate you having us on as well. Appreciate Paddle and Fin for hosting this and allow us to be part of this as well. And appreciate you, Chris.
Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah. All right, folks, we'll end it there. Hope everyone has a great rest of their week. And thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. God bless you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You can support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.